Welcome everyone, how are you? Welcome on YouTube and also starting up Facebook. Let me see, yep. Welcome everyone, welcome to the show, welcome to Taekwondo. What a great episode I have lined up for you today. We have a special guest, LiveU. I will show him in a few minutes. Kermit is right here, but I think he's probably not going to be on camera because he just got sick like a minute ago, doing some stuff that is not good for your stomach, but we'll clean it up after the show, right? So that is what happens if you have a pet. It might happen that he gets sick in my case. But he is here. He is making. He's already taking over the show like he does every time. So we are going to talk about a cool product called the LiveU Solo, which I have right here. But before I do that, are you streaming at this moment? Please let me know. I do have a problem with Facebook because on Facebook it does not work anymore with the standard functionality that I have, so I have to go old school with Facebook, which is cool. Mike Swam, welcome from Houston, Texas. Welcome from Venray, the Netherlands. That's where I am, and great of you to be here. And I really look forward to seeing your comments, questions, and that kind of stuff over here on the. Come on, Kermit, go away. Kermit is, by the way, is my cat, who is a very great guy, but he has this his times that he is doing quite some strange things. But hey, that is what. Come here, Kermit, go away, go away. Taking over the show, like always. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, so tell me, what have you been up to this week? From my perspective, let me see. The weather got a little bit more better, so I could actually do something. I could actually sleep. That was the first in a long time that I could actually sleep, which is, of course, one of the most important things that you can have. And let me say, I'm listening quite a lot to music these days. Festival season has been started, and that means that I am really happy. I love music. I love alternative music. So tell me what kind of music that you like. I would love to hear that also. In about 7 minutes we will start the show, and I am really looking forward to that. Why? Because I have the privilege to talk to a person that actually works for LiveU, and that also means that I am able, or we are able, to really delve into the subject, go full in depth. And I have actually not one but two shows lined up for you today. The first show is on YouTube or on Facebook, which is really the interview, a little bit high level, but we're going really deep in how-to videos on Twitch, twitch.tv/taekwondo, but that will take roughly 30-35 minutes before we can start that show. Now, what have I done besides that? So not technology-wise, you might have known that I am also a person that really likes Lego. I have quite a Lego selection going on, and I am actually on the rim of purchasing something huge, which has something to do with Star Wars, and it's huge, and that is like the ship of Han Solo, or Han Solo, like we just heard. Of course, the Millennium Falcon. So that is something that I'm also geeking out upon. What I'm also geeking out upon is something that I will be working on tomorrow. Is that tomorrow I will be changing my cameras to NDI. So I currently have all my cameras on SDI, but that will change tomorrow, and that means that I have to change some stuff to see if it's working. And why do I need that? Well, I've got some gigs coming up. One of them is a musical for kids that are like 12 years old, and that I'm really looking forward to. I'm also having a pilot television series that we will be working on, which is just a pilot, 1 or 2 episodes, and then with what we learned this year, we will use that for next year, and then it will become a real show. Hey, Dad, what's going on? My dad is also in the house. Cool of you to be here. Guys from Facebook, sorry, I can only see you on my phone, which is totally awesome, totally okay. But I'm not able to show it on the screen. If you're watching this show from YouTube, then I am able to put it on the screen, so I will do that. Looking at the time, 4 minutes to go. So 2 questions. Have you ever gone live? Have you ever streamed live? And have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to go live to show something which was really cool, and then the thing happened that we all go through, right? No internet. What do you do? How do you do that? Okay, you can record it and then, later just send it to Facebook or to YouTube. But going live, that makes more sense, right? So that is something that I think that we will be talking about how to solve that. So, yes. Well, so we are still firing up. Typically, it takes a few minutes before people are joining. If everything is fine, I just received my email, so that means that people are getting notified. That is great. So I assume that the most of you will be joining very, very soon. So, like, you might, if you're new here, and that is possibly for me, maybe for Mike. If you're new here, this is what we call a pre-show, just to get settled, get a drink. If it's late at night, then you can drink something with alcohol. In my case, I'm just gonna drink something with water, only water, just to start the show. Paul is also in the house. Welcome, Paul. Great of you to be here. And 2 minutes ago, and I also see that our guest actually has a coffee itself, and I will actually put him on the screen just a little bit so that you can see very quickly who it is. But we will talk about him very soon. There he is, taking his coffee. Great. Thanks, Paul. So, yes, we have 2 minutes to go. And great of you to be here. Sam Eric is also in the house. Welcome from Helsinki. We've got people from the US. We're from the Netherlands, from Finland. We got quite a great audience lined up. Paul, I am going to unmute you for now. And before we start, maybe just a quick question, on a personal level. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Petra.
So, anything out of the ordinary for this week?
No, not really, not really. We went strawberry picking today. That was about the most exciting thing that happened.
Well, that is exciting. So that is something to really look forward to. I actually, when I was 15 years old, I actually did some strawberry picking myself, and I do not have the best feeling with it because it was not a great job.
My kids had a good time.
It's fine, but yeah, it's not what I typically like to do. Anyways, looking at the time, we are now 1 minute before the show starts. I am really looking forward to this. Again, welcome, Peter. Anne is from North Carolina. North California. Sorry, Helsinki, UK, England. It's all over the place. So that is great. Let me remove the timer because I think that we can say that we're gonna start the show in a minute. So I'll just swipe from this camera to this camera and start the show. Welcome everyone, welcome to the show. Have you ever had the idea that you wanted to go on location and there was an event going on. Everything looked great. You really would like to share it with some friends and family, or even your customers. And there you have it. No internet. What's going on, right? That's the most irritating idea what you can have. But I think that we have something for you, and it's called the LiveU Solo. Let's check it out. Welcome everyone, welcome to the show, welcome to TechCono. My name is Peter Verbruggen, like you can see right over there. And if you go to my website called techcono.net, you can support the show, donate $5, $10, or $25 per month, and you're awesome. These guys that you see here below are the ones that actually did that, which is amazing. Thank you so much. So today we're going to talk about this product. This is the LiveU Solo, and yeah, we're going to talk about it very thoroughly, but first let's welcome the person that knows more about it than I do, because, well, he works at LiveU. Paul, oops. Hey, come on, where it's not coming. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Always the same with that kind of stuff. How are you?
Hi, Petra. I'm still here.
So, yes, so this is Paul Shepard. He works for LiveU. Paul, tell me something about yourself.
Yeah, so I work for LiveU. I'm based in the UK. I live in Hampshire, which is where I am right now. So I work as a regional sales manager. I look after Northern Europe and some of the Gulf countries, working for LiveU. I've been with the company about 5 years. And before that, working for other companies that were involved in mobile news gathering, S&G type technology for actually nearly 20 years now. So, yeah.
Quite a challenge.
Code for quite a long time, yeah.
Yeah. So Paul, LiveU, can you tell us why the company started? What did they want to change?
Yeah, so the company was started around the time when the first sort of mobile broadband networks, WiMAX 2.5G were coming available. And it was started with the idea of being able to provide ways of using that mobile broadband connectivity to stream live video more reliably. So the company, the guy that started the company came with the idea of using multiple mobile broadband cellular networks, aggregating them together and working on a protocol that used the best kind of technologies available to make that reliable. So it was all about trying to make affordable and more deployable the way of doing more reliable live video from mobile. Okay,
that's interesting. Now, you say reliable. So let me just start with you have probably ever seen this thing over here. This is like a rucksack with LiveU, and these guys are actually really professional people. Like name some companies that are using
so
it.
I mean obviously, the first sort of application that technology fitted into and the first sort of widely adopted was in the news gathering space. So it's fairly widely used now for sort of major news organizations, news agencies, across the world really are using this sort of technology day in, day out for their live broadcasts. So the product you saw there, the LiveU in the picture, is something that's used very widely internationally as part of daily news programs for sure.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of clients globally using those sorts of products.
Can you just briefly walk us through the LRT, the bonding, because you talked about it, of course, but it is of course something that has a little bit more of a backstory, which I think is interesting. I made a slide for that, so I'll just show it to you right here. Can you walk us through?
Yeah. So LRT stands for LiveU Reliable Transport. It's our proprietary patented protocol for ensuring the most robust, reliable video delivery over kind of variable or inherently unreliable networks. So I can see in Petra's diagram here, you've got, for example, the LiveU on the left with a news gathering crew with a camera, and that's connected to a number of different internet interfaces. They could be cellular interfaces, like AT&T and Verizon giving here. They could be Wi-Fi, it could be DSL, it could be even satellite broadband. And the way the protocol works is about using all of those network interfaces and dynamically load balancing and sending traffic across those to a receive point, which is basically passing back feedback information about packet loss, about jitter, and adaptively changing the way that the algorithm is working that way. So if you get an example where you can see here interface 2 has some sort of packet loss, the feedback loop from the receiving server is telling the encoding engine to basically load balance away from that connection and use the other connections more reliably. So that gives you a way of using a whole bunch of connections which are inherently fluctuating or have some unreliability and kind of hedging your bets across all of them to give you a more robust signal in changing and in challenging environments.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So that is really the thing that is important for them. And maybe we can also talk about the portfolio that you guys have. You mean you have not only this LU 500 we just talked about, which is for news gathering organizations. I know you have even much better one, but can you talk us through the ones that you currently have?
Yeah, sure. So, LiveU started off as a company making backpacks. We became well known for making cellular bonding backpacks, but the portfolio has really expanded, to offer a complete end-to-end IP delivery solution here. So we've got quite a range of portable video uplink units. You can see on your slide here, Petra, we've got the LU 600, which is the kind of current flagship product at the top. That's our most professional high-end unit, which is doing H.265 encoding, has a number of great features. It's a kind of evolution of the success of the LU 500, using the same sort of form factor, same sort of functionality with a whole bunch of extra features. We have in the middle there the LU 200, which is a smaller, lighter, lower cost, more deployable cellular bonding unit, which is used in that kind of professional environment as well. And then at the very bottom is the LU 200E, which is a kind of cut down, even more version of the LU 200, which is not having internal modems. And those products on the right of the line exist in our kind of professional product range. So they're designed to be used by organizations, sort of anybody that's doing broadcast or doing some sort of studio-based, some sort of organizational level productions. What you see on the left of the line is the LiveU Solo, which we're talking about today. And that's a product which we launched about 18 months ago, and it was really designed, it came from demand from the market, from people that were doing more streaming on a budget, that were just using basically the basic tools you can get for streaming, and coming to us and saying, well, look, we want ways of solving connectivity problems. We've heard about people using the LRT, using the protocol and the broadcast, and we need a way of using that technology in this kind of market. So the Solo kind of came along as an evolution of the products that we had to fit into that kind of, more people that were streaming on their own, I suppose.
Yeah. Hence the word solo.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I got a question from Sam Eric. He lives in Finland, and he asks,
Hi, Sam Eric.
what services do you have for Finland? How does LiveU cover remote locations like Finland?
Yeah, so Finland, we've got quite a few customers working in Finland, and generally, I think the cellular networks are very good. So in terms of the urban environments, we've got a lot of broadcast clients and quite a few solo users working in Finland. When it comes to very rural areas, we're not providing connectivity at the end of the day. We are making the best use of connectivity that's available. So if you have cellular networks, if you have Wi-Fi, if you have any DSL, I'm pretty confident the LRT protocol and the bonding engine means that you can make the most of that connectivity. If you go to a very rural area, if you're in the middle of the forest in Finland and there is nothing, then the only real options you have are to do it as a kind of store and forward, to take the file and then stream it back as soon as you get back to connectivity, back to some cellular networks, or to use a satellite broadband connection. So there are several providers doing satellite internet. You can use these sorts of connectivity solutions, so the same way as you can use a 4G connection with the LiveU technology. So,
okay, yeah, I think that's clear. So, oh, I hear myself somehow. Not sure where that comes from. So for Sam Eric, indeed, you really need to have or 4G or Ethernet or Wi-Fi available. Otherwise, yeah, you're not a magician, right? You have to have something at
Yeah,
least. But you have
basically.
four possibilities. You have Ethernet, you've
Yeah.
got Wi-Fi, and you've got D4G. And the Solo has two possibilities, two 4G modems that you can connect external.
Yeah.
And if you look at the other components in your portfolio, then of course the more expensive, the more broadcast oriented, the more modems that it can contain.
Yeah,
Right?
basically, the more interfaces, the more reliability. As you move up the portfolio, you add things like high gain antennas. The LU600, for instance, has 8 internal modems, 2 Ethernet connections, so it has 12 onboard network connections once you add in the Wi-Fi and the USB. Yeah.
12. Wow. I'm really struggling with two. Samer came back and says, "Oh, we have 4G, so we're good." So that is great. One other thing, and maybe we can park this question a little bit, but is it also can we use LiveU products also for only audio transmissions? That's one question that just came in, so that might be interesting to check. Or maybe
Yeah,
you
it's
want
a
to talk
question that
about
pops up
it
a fair
now?
bit. Yeah, no, I can answer. I mean, we're pretty focused on the video market, so it's something that's come up, and we're certainly looking into it. I have seen people using our solutions for audio only, but it basically involves capping the bitrate low and putting the lens cap on, so that you're just transmitting black. We don't have any kind of dedicated products that are audio specific today.
Okay, got it. Yeah, got it. And Samir says I would be using the Solo. And Mike from the US, is there a monthly fee to use the LiveU Solo? That question is yes, but we will be talking about it in a bit because otherwise we will have all over the we will be all over the place. Yeah. I also created a slide that remember that we had the slide with the LRT protocol with the server on the right hand side. That is a little bit different if it comes to the Solo, right? So maybe you can walk through how that will work.
Yeah, so whereas the professional products are kind of channel based, we've got an extensive management system. People want to stream to dedicated channels that they're managing. With Solo, it was really designed to hide all that mechanics and make it more transparent for users that just wanted to stream. So we still use the same bonding technology behind the scenes in terms of the LRT protocol for the bonding of multiple network connections. But the actual receiving server, that whole bit about aggregating, is done basically in a cloud environment which is dynamically assigned. So this is kind of not presented to the user. Basically what you have is a portal which allows you to define what your endpoint is. So you go into the portal and we use the APIs for Facebook, for YouTube, for Twitch. So you go in and you basically create your post details within our portal, and that automatically points the endpoint of that stream to the social media or online video platform that you're using. So that's kind of shown in this diagram here. Basically what we're doing is solving that first mile connectivity to the cloud using the LRT, transcoding to RTMP, and putting out RTMP to the online video platform.
Yeah, got it. Well, what we can do is I can show you the portal in a bit, Mike, but indeed that is a Paul, $45 per month fee, right?
To use the LRT. Basically use the
LRT.
bonding and the LRT.
Got it, yeah.
Now it is possible to use the Solo without the LRT in an RTMP only configuration, in which case it just does RTMP on the first internet connection.
Yeah, so then it only has one 4G modem that it uses, and all the others are not used, right? So that is something. Yeah, exactly.
So it's possible to use it without the LRT, but the LRT is the value of using the LiveU technology.
Yeah. So let's go through. I have to prepare it a little bit, but I think it's a good question. So let me try to log on to the Solo portal. Just give me a few seconds to start it up. There you go, logging in. That is something that I have to do outside of the, otherwise you know what my address is and that kind of stuff. You don't want to have that. But I will show you what it looks like, and that's specifically for Mark. By the way, I will be going through this setup more extensively on Twitch in roughly 20 minutes from now. So if it's something that you cannot, if it's too fast, don't worry about it. We'll make sure that that it will happen at a later stage, that you can see what is going on. So I am ready to show my screen. So maybe, yeah, let's show it. So this is the LiveU Solo, and I have the privilege at this moment to have two Solo devices. So here you have all your devices that you can have, and I'm going to go with this one for now. And you can then here see the status. You can select your zone, that is the nearest location for streaming. And cloud graphics we will be talking about in a minute. And here you can have your destinations, and you can actually add new destinations as well. And this is what Paul was referring to. If you click on this, it will pop up another tool. And here you see all the different standardized connections. So these are really connections that LiveU and the social platform has teamed up with, made sure that it's easy. For instance, if I go to Twitch, for instance, I get immediately the correct information that I need to fill in solely for Twitch, which I think is really great, makes it really easy to use. And yeah, so this is something that I think is really straightforward, easy to use, and you don't have to be very technical to do this, right, Paul?
Yeah, that's really the objective with Solo, is to simplify the operation and mechanics of what we do with the other products to make it usable for people in the field that just want to stream to their social media platform.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So I actually already touched a little bit on it, that there is also a graphics component to the portal.
Yeah.
And maybe
Something
you,
we added,
you can talk about it, indeed. Oh.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, we added it this month as a kind of add-on package. So one of the, I suppose, challenges we found for people that are using Solo to basically stream from the field on a kind of field-based event is if they are on their own, they're in the field, they have a camera and they're streaming, they don't have any way of being able to add on logos or do any kind of graphics insertion. So we've been working on a cloud-based graphics package that you can basically add on within the Solo platform to be able to add some of those elements in. So I know you've got a bit more demonstration to show on it.
Yes, I am ready. So I have here what I've done. Let me set the stage for a bit. So what I've done here is that I logged onto the portal, started up the graphics, and filled in something like live from the first March event here in Venray. This is the place where I live. And if you want to react to what is going on Facebook, then please drop a line so that we can use it into the stream, that kind of stuff. But you can also put in bugs and lower thirds and that kind of stuff. And this is what it looks like. So I'm just going into Facebook, and this is, it's in Dutch. I don't know if you can hear it, but we'll see.
Drinken en het eten zijn. Ik zie trouwens dat Anja ook gereageerd heeft. Wandelen van 10 kilometer achter de...
So I'll just make it a little bit small, no sound, because you probably don't understand it. But you can see here, this is in the middle of nowhere, basically, and it looks great. You have lower thirds going on in the screen, and which I think makes it a very nice product. And yeah, but I do have a remark on it. So because I do like the possibility of doing this, Paul, but if I would use this in a multi-team event, right? So I have a producer that is well, looking at a Facebook screen, but you're not there. You're actually on the field. A lot of things happening around you. You're not able to hear if your audio is okay. You're not able to see if everything is great. But yeah, I do see on the LiveU Solo this headset here, So I was wondering,
Yes.
can that be used for connecting to your producer and have some feedback from them?
Yeah, it can't today. So on the professional product portfolio, you can stream when you're streaming to a receiving server. You can basically have a talkback, an IFB, where you're basically getting audio fed back to the mobile device in a low delay way, and that's used quite commonly for sort of two-way interviews where people are interviewing into a studio or into a station. We haven't implemented that on the Solo yet to date. Obviously, there is no physical server within the Solo, so you don't have any physical audio interface to log in. It would have to be some sort of cloud-based, IP-based way of doing it. I have talked to the development team about if they're looking to do something along these lines, and it is something we're talking about doing. I think one of the reasons we didn't push down that route, first of all, is when you're streaming to, let's say, Facebook Live, the actual program output that you can see, the delay on it is it's quite a lot longer than if you're doing a two-way. With the professional products, we can go down to sub 1 second latency, so really you can have an interaction using a talkback system. But when you've got a sort of 15 to 20 second delay on what's happening, I think we thought the value of that was a bit more limited, so we haven't done that so far.
Yeah,
but it's a good point, and
well, something to think about at least.
Yeah.
So I have some other remarks here. Let me check. So Mike says, can a smartphone be used with the Solo, or does it have to be a camera?
Interesting. So I think Mike's question relates to using the camera on the smartphone as a source.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I think.
So yeah, so there is actually the development team that work on Solo, and we have a phone app for streaming as part of our broadcast portfolio for mobile journalists. And the team that developed that made an app called SoloCam, which is available for iOS. And that's basically an application that just gives you a clean camera output on the screen, and you can use it with the Apple Lightning to HDMI connector. So it's basically gesture based, so you get a clean overlay. You can zoom, pinch, focus lock using gestures, and that way you can use your iOS device to basically give you a clean HDMI output into your LiveU Solo. So it is possible in that way.
Great answer. Thank you so much. I think that will help, Mike, indeed.
I think as an aside to that as well, we are looking at, we have the phone app which uses LRT and streams into our broadcast portfolio. There is something we're looking at doing in terms of creating a Solo-based application as well to work within the Solo ecosystem. So that's something that might come later in the year.
There's one more thing. I sorry to start to about the graphics part, because I think that you actually have something really cool there. I mean, normally it was not possible on your phone. It's not possible really to put in some graphics to make it look great. With LiveU Solo, that is possible. You can put in lower thirds. You can put in some other graphics, which is cool. But one of the things that I like to have, and a few of the people that are in the chat room I know are also interested in, is having some integration with, for instance, the Twitch stream elements, for instance. And you know what it is?
Yeah, I do now. I think you showed me some of it a little bit earlier. So I've got an idea what it is, and I know we've had this request coming in for a number of people. So I think it's something we're looking into doing. I'm not closely involved in the product development, but like anything, if enough people ask for it, it's what we'll do next. So I know it's something that is definitely a hot topic for people that are using Solo and that people are asking for. So yeah.
I just put in a small snippet that we can watch together. That is roughly what I mean, so that people that are joining us can actually see it happening. So and I will put the audio needs to go down. Yep. So this is, for instance, what I mean. So here you have a lower third, and the cool part is of the lower third is that, which unfortunately there's this line here. But with that lower third, you can actually have cheers and some interaction going on. And this is something that is specifically for Twitch, but you can also imagine that it might be something that is for Facebook or some other functionality. And that is the reason why, yeah, I just mentioned it as a interesting thing. So, yeah. Oh, I think that Paul just left us a bit. Ah, there he is. Hi, Paul.
Hi,
back.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
was
no
remote.
worries. No worries. It was.
Yeah, it definitely seems interesting, and I think as we see more demand for that kind of thing, it's definitely something that will move up the queue in terms of what we can develop and put in.
Yeah, exactly. So just to be clear, what you just saw is not possible out of the box at this moment with the LiveU Solo. But I will walk you through very quickly what I've done for you at home. Because this is also exactly what we're going to talk about in the Twitch session, what we will have in a few minutes. So what you can see here is that I have a camera which is connected to a LiveU Solo using LRT, going to a to LiveStream Studio, which is a software package. The reason for that being is that LiveStream Studio has an built-in RTMP server, which is something that vMix does not have, and it actually allows to mimic, yeah, like a Facebook endpoint, YouTube endpoint, but now you are the endpoint. And then from Livestream, it goes into vMix, which is where I have the overlays, which unfortunately are not running on Livestream. So that's really something that vMix can do. So that is thinking that that's interesting. Jason is also in, so we have Canada also in the house. Great of you to be here. We are about to, well, we talked about the hardware. We showed you very briefly the portal. But I want just to go through some additional use cases that I've been thinking of. And Paul, in all fairness, I am a bit of a hacker, so I try to do something which is not what you want from, from that perspective. So, but I start with something that is, I think, roughly what you also have envisioned, and that is like if you have an event, you have multiple cameras, and you want to be able to stream that event, then the live view is something that will work. Especially, this is really important, Paul, because here at the local TV station, we actually had the problem that we didn't have the correct internet connection to make it happen. We were very professional. We had everything tied down. We tested the internet, but at the last moment, because we were not the only one. We had different TV stations from the Netherlands also joining, and all hell broke loose. So this is what I mean, is that what we wanted to do is to combine a switcher with maybe multiple cameras, and then go into the LiveU unit, and from there stream to a vMix. I'm checking what Kermit is doing at this moment. He's breaking stuff. Let me check. This is the cool part. This is what I like, is that sometimes this kind of stuff happens. Just give me a moment. Kermit, what are you doing, man? Come on. Get out. Okay, we're back. So, always Kermit. Don't blame it on Kermit. Now he's still here, but he's a little bit he's a little bit mad. I don't know why. So that was what I think is also a great use case for the LiveU Solo. Is that something that you guys were also thinking of?
Yeah. So in terms of, when you talk about multi-camera, there's quite a few different ways of deploying it, and it really depends production to production. So if you're using some sort of switching or mixing on site, taking the output of that switcher into a solo is pretty straightforward. That's something that quite a lot of our users are doing. I think when it comes to multi-cameras which are more remote, you've got multiple cameras in different locations, then I think there's two ways of doing it. You either do some sort of cloud-based switching platform. There are a few providers doing that kind of thing today, and I've seen some of our clients using that sort of system. Or the other thing to do is to try and bring it back into a studio or some sort of facility where you're doing a production and you're doing the switching. In which case, it probably leans more towards the professional side of the product portfolio than the solo.
Okay, thanks. Looking at the time, do you still have 5 minutes to spare, or?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool. Then just wanted to continue quickly because one other thing that I've been working on is that the station that I work for sometimes does not have a lot of money. So I mean, even though I think that looking at we have been renting, for instance, the LU 500 a few times, which we really love. But
Good.
owning it is something else, of course. So we tried to figure out a way to make it happen. And actually, it's roughly the same thing that you just saw. The only difference is that we're using also the live stream software package on the studio location to put into TV. So I'll just remove very briefly this. From the screen. So oops, there you go away. So so we can actually use this live stream software to go into the TV directly, and that will work. But of course, it's not the way it's meant to be, right? It makes it a little bit more, how to say it, hack. It's a lot of hacks, and every time you hack, something can go wrong, eh? So if this is really the way that you want to go with a TV station, I don't think so. I think that there are other examples to make it work. It's really, it boils down. But the cool part of the Solo is that it actually enables you to start at least.
Yes.
Then you can have some more time.
I think it depends on the kind of facility you've got to do that receiving as well. I mean, if you have a TV studio, then you've got other opportunities to put in more infrastructure and those kind of things. If you're just somebody streaming with a laptop and without a lot of portfolio, then doing something with RTMP like this is probably more achievable.
I mean, if I look at my studio, I think that I'm very lucky that I can actually do this. But indeed, I would not have a LU 600 or an LU 500 here. Now, there is a device that I want to really briefly touch upon, and I'm going back very briefly to your portfolio to show it to the people at home. I am currently swiping a little bit. Yep, there we go. Come on. Do what I want. Okay, so on the left hand side you see the LiveU Solo and the LiveU 200E, and if you look very closely, they're the same box.
Yeah, so it uses the same hardware platform. The Solo and the 200E have the same kind of number of interfaces, the same sort of battery, same sort of inputs. The different the ecosystem that they work in. So the Solo is entirely cloud-based, simplified. The LU200E fits in that broadcast portfolio, so it's the same functionality, the same workflow as the LU500, the LU600, and the very high-end products. Yeah.
So what I did was because I think that you know me by now, is that I try to figure out what is the cutting point. When do you want to go from the LiveU 200 LiveU Solo to the LiveU 200E? What is the point where it comes? So looking at what I did was I created a comparison slide looking at prices. Now, these prices are combined of different places, so they're only, let me say, indicative. So don't hold it against LiveU, don't hold it against me. Just give it a bit of it's just to get a little bit of an idea on what the differences are. So LiveU Solo has what we just discussed, the possibility to transmit via LRT live stream reliable transport to the cloud, and from there on you have the normal RTMP connection to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or a other software package like a platform like Switchboard, where you can actually have a multicast. That is on the one hand, and because you don't have a server available, you have to pay the $45 per month fee for the bonding, which I think is a no-brainer. Why should you buy this cool product here if you're not using it for bonding? That doesn't make sense to me. So that one needs to be there, and the graphics, I just took the basic version, and what I did was I just said, okay, let's have the assumption that we're using it for 3 years, and then I'm going to combine it with the LU200E, which is the same box but it's a different software, and the LU2000 server. Now, there's one more thing that is very important. The LU200E does also include store and forward, like you said, Paul. So you can be on location, and then if you don't have any access, then at least you can record it, and then once
you can encode a fixed bit rate of storage on the device, and then you can travel. And as soon as you get to connectivity, it will upload as fast as possible over the bonded interfaces.
So that is something that is great. And another question, but that's something that I had to figure out. The headset is also working?
Yes, you can use IFB with the 200E, yeah.
Okay, look at that. So that is interesting. And what does that mean? Let's just go through it very quickly. Like I said, this is roughly the rough cut that I did. 3 years means that the LiveU Solo is still a little bit cheaper, 1.5K cheaper than the LU200E. However, if you go with the full graphics suite, then it's a no-brainer. Then the LU200E is actually much cheaper than the LiveU Solo. It's half the price, which is very interesting.
I think it's true if you're using it all the time for those 3 years. I think one of the benefits of the Solo is you do have the option to kind of pay as you go. So if 6 months out of the year you don't have any events, then you don't pay for the LRT, you don't pay for the cloud bonding. So in your example, if you're using it every week, definitely. But a lot of our, Solo users are, have more sporadic use cases. I think the other thing with the 200E as well, which isn't, you need to consider, is that if you're using the LU200, the LU200E, the professional broadcast portfolio, you need to host that receiving server yourself. So you need to pay for the power, the rack space for it, and importantly, the connectivity. So you're responsible for making sure that it has that reliable connectivity. And you mentioned having an issue getting that at your station. So, it's something that you take on yourself in terms of managing and hosting that server. Whereas when you're using Solo, you don't need to think about any of that.
Fair point. Fair point. Indeed, fair point. That's something that is also the total cost of ownership. That's the terminology. That is, of course, something that is also something that you have to take care of.
It definitely depends on the individual in terms of what their setup is, what facilities they have. Yeah.
Okay, let me go very quickly to my camera so that I want to do some closing remarks, because we really didn't show you this LiveU Solo, but what we'll do is that in roughly 5 minutes I will be going live on twitch.tv/TechHondo. There I will be going through this system, but basically what you have is we have two USB connectors that have also the possibility to connect a modem. The modem is sold separately, so you need to buy specific modems. There is a website where you can see exactly which modems work with this product, and so far I have to admit I have not had any issues with the quality of this thing. I really think you have a perfect system if it comes to online creators, and that's something because I've been working for a local TV station as well, also for a local TV station that does not have the possibility to go to the upper level. This is a great product to at least be on location. If there is a fire or something, you're there, meaning that people see you, and hopefully you will get a little bit more of money from your local government or your local city council the next time. So I think that is a great product, Paul. Any closing remarks on your end?
No, thank you very much for having me on. It's been a real pleasure, and yeah, good luck with the rest of the show.
Thank you so much. All right, then I'll stop the show in a bit. Thank you again for being there, Paul. Really appreciate for me that I can lend this product. I will make sure that this product will be in your mailbox this week because of course this is something that yeah, I mean, without your help I could not have done this all these tests that I've done. There are some other tests.
Really great feedback. It's a sort of a developing industry and developing sector, so it's really, you know, really appreciate getting your thoughts and you trying it out and giving us your feedback, Petra. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. And for you guys here, thank you for watching. If you liked what you've seen, you can support the show via techcondo.net. Like I said, $5 per month, $10 per month, or $25 a month. You can choose whatever you want. I love doing this, and I'd like to invite you also to twitch.net/techcondo. This is the website, twitch.net/techcondo. I will be there in 5 minutes. Again, twitch.net/techcondo, and there we will definitely look a little bit further and see what are the steps to go live with a LiveU Solo. Peter says great information. Jason says well, he says hello, and looks like everybody was really looking forward to it. And again, thank you, Paul, for being here. All right, bye.
Bye.